There's a loose worm. Hey Garden Maters, welcome to Corner Homestead. So I was watching a video last night and she made a homemade treat block for your chickens. If you have not seen her channel, I highly suggest you go check it out. Her name is Dahlia and she is the president of Chickenlandia. Her channel is Welcome to Chickenlandia. She's a backyard educator, teaches you a lot about chickens. So she made this recipe, and I got to thinking, my chickens are the pickiest eaters I have ever seen in chickens. I think it's just because they got a little spoiled. So I'm going to make it today so that I can give it to the chickens tomorrow and see just how much they like it. So if you have chickens, you probably appreciate this video. If not, stick around and watch anyway. We're gonna have some fun. So some of the ingredients, I can tell you right now I don't have them all, but I'm gonna do my best with what I have. And I'll put the complete recipe at the end of this video. So in this measuring cup, I have 1 cup of cracked corn, 2 cups of the Scratch chicken feed treat, and I've put in 1 cup of the regular layer feed. That one she does not say to do, but I did it just anyway. So on the stove, I'm melting a 1/2 cup of lard. She says you can use either lard or coconut oil. Coconut oil is just a little bit, I have it, but it's a little bit too expensive. I don't really care to use it for the chickens. So I'm just using the regular lard. I'm going to melt it down. Okay, so to go in with the chicken feed, we're going to add a 1/2 cup of rolled oats. We want to do all the dry ingredients first. Now she says to use a 1/2 cup of herbs like oregano and thyme. I don't have any oregano on hand. I've got a little bit of thyme left. Nowhere near is this going to be 1/2 cup of herbs because I just don't have them. So I'm just going to put in what I have. That's about a teaspoon of thyme that I had left. And then I'm just going to put in a whole lot of parsley. I don't know. Parsley was not one I remember her saying. So I don't know if it's really good for the chickens. I wouldn't think it would hurt them. So we're just going to add that to it. And then we want to do 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to put it in. That's about a teaspoon, I guess. Like I said, it's for the chickens, so I'm not really going to measure to the exact on a lot of these things. Go ahead and mix it up a little bit here. Okay, and then she says to use 2 cups of grubs. The only thing I have on hand is mealworms. So I'm just going to add in, I know that's going to make it look really disgusting. So I'm just going to add in the mealworms. Okay, next I'm going to put in 1 cup. She says to use a 1/2 cup of flour. I'm putting in 1 cup of wheat flour because my regular flour is downstairs in my basement pantry and I just don't feel like running down there to get it. So this is it for the dry ingredients. Now we start adding in the wet ingredients. So the wet ingredients is 4 eggs, I'm just gonna, she does them separate. I'm just gonna do it this way. Now because I've added a little extra of a lot of the flour and things like that, I may have to add a little bit more wet ingredients to get it to combine, and that's fine. But the reason I'm doing extra is because she uses, her recipe is for 1 loaf of treat block, and I'm trying to make enough to do at least 2. So I'll probably have to add some more eggs. I'm gonna add my 1/2 cup of lard, melted lard. I'm probably gonna have to add more. We'll see. She puts in 2 cloves of garlic. And I don't have the cloves, so I'm just gonna put in, I'm gonna do 1 big teaspoon of the minced garlic. And now we want a 3/4 cup of molasses. I've got some in the jar here, not sure how much it is. But you can see it's almost halfway of the molasses. I'm just going to add it all in. Okay, so I put it all in, and I even put a little extra hot water in the bottom of the jar to make sure I got it all out. It's still a little bit on the dry side, so let me add, I'm going to add 1 more egg. It just feels like it needs it. And if it's still a little dry, I'll have to add more of the lard. So I think that's what I'm going to have to do anyway. Okay, I added just a little tiny bit more, literally like 2 big tablespoons of melted lard. And it brought it together perfect. And the only reason I added it was because I put a little extra flour, a little extra feed in it. Okay, so Dahlia, when she made this, she used her own loaf pans. She used her loaf pan, regular loaf pan, lined it with parchment paper. I'm not going to use my regular loaf pan and do all that. I'm just going to use the throwaway loaf pans from the dollar store. So I'm hoping to get at least 2 of these. But looking at the bowl, I may get 3. But let's get it in, because then we're going to bake it. Okay, so I have my 2 pans. Now, I'm not going to bother about greasing it or anything. It's got so much of the lard and everything in it. I don't really think that it needs to be greased. So now we're just going to fill them up. And as you fill it, you press it down. Make sure it's in there all really good. Press it down tight. Let me move that one out of the way so I can just work with this one for now. That one's pretty good and full, I think. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Oh my Lord, that is one hefty loaf. Okay. I'm not used to cooking with bugs. I'm going to just come out and say that. Okay, I think I'm going to put just a little in there. So it is just enough to do 2 loaves. I don't want to end up with worms all over my kitchen. I think that's gonna do it. Okay, so we've got our 2 pans and they are full and they're like little bricks. She says you bake these in an oven, 350 degrees for 40 to 45 minutes. I'm not gonna turn my big oven on, waste all that gas and heat up the house just for these. I'm gonna bake them in my caloric convection oven here. And when it's done, we'll see how they turn out. Okay, so I'm going to put them into my oven. And we're going to hit the start oven. We want it to bake 45 minutes, 350. Okay, so the timer went off. Let's have a look-see. Okay, so I can tell you right off the bat, it smells like I'm making gingerbread cookies or a gingerbread cake. It really smells good. It's a lot firmer. There's a loose worm. It's definitely a lot firmer. Okay, so like I said, they're really hot because they're fresh out of the oven. So I am going to leave them sit here. Let them cool completely. But it smells so good. You kind of want to eat it. So I'm going to let them cool on the stove tonight. Just going to let them sit all night long. Tomorrow I'll turn them out and then I'll take them out to the chickens. So good morning. It's the next day. They cooled overnight. They are hard, but yet it still has a little bit of give to it. It's just like a hard, like a stale cake would be. But I can tell you one thing, they smell really, really good. So I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the pan, and then I'll take it out and give it to the chickens. See if they're going to like it. I'm hoping it kind of just slide. Oh, it is going to just slide right out. Look at that. Oh. And even pretty clean pan inside. So let's go give it to the chickens and see what they think of it. Hey girls. And Sophia laid an egg today. First one in over 2 months. You owe me about 75 more of them, Sophia. All right. I got a treat for you, girls. Well, here, actually, let's take it off the plate. Boy, somebody left a mess of Palapu. Leave it to Rose. I think it's a hit. Well, look at that. Rose, you don't have to hog it all. Yeah, I would say that's a hit. So I think the next time I make them, I'm going to put them into smaller little loaf pans, or maybe just a different smaller type of pan where I can set out a couple of them, only because Rose, she likes to hog everything, and anything that has mealworms in it, she wants to try to get all the mealworms before the rest of the chickens. So I think a couple of the smaller ones will work better than one big one. But yeah, the tree block is definitely a huge hit with the chickens. So yeah, if you have chickens, I highly suggest the recipe to make your own treat blocks. Definitely a lot cheaper than going to the store and buying the blocks. So thanks for being with me today to make a non-human recipe, but one that is great for the chickens. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. Love to have you as part of the community. Love to watch the Garden Maters grow. So until next time, I love you all. Take care. God bless. And I'll see you on the next video. So I said, Dorothy! She has to lay an egg and she won't go in and lay it. Dorothy, come here, darling. Go in. Go ahead. Go lay your egg. Go in. Go ahead. Go lay your egg. Get in there. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go lay your egg. Would you let me close the door? A little privacy. So until next time, stop, Dorothy. Dorothy, I see you right there. Please lay that egg. Oh, Lordy.
Please lay that egg, Dorothy.